Okay, thank you very much. It's an honor to see you all today on this beautiful afternoon, White House. We're here today to discuss our efforts to support our nation's small businesses, working very hard, and safely reopen America, and that's what's happening. We're doing record numbers. We're doing numbers like nobody's ever seen before, actually. I'm thrilled to be joined by two good friends of mine, Governor Pete Ricketts of Nebraska. Pete, thank you very much. And a man that I'm going to see a little bit over the weekend, and this was really by coincidence that you happen to be here today, because it was for a different reason. It has to do with small business. Governor Kevin Stitt of Oklahoma. And we're going to be in Oklahoma, and it's a crowd like, I guess, nobody's seen before. We have tremendous requests for tickets, like I think probably has never happened politically before. And one of the reasons we chose your state, as you know, Kevin, was that you've done so well with the COVID. You've handled it incredibly well. We appreciate you both have, actually. You both have, so congratulations. Along with several extraordinary small business owners from their state. Also with us are Secretary of the Treasury, Stephen Mnuchin, and Small Business Administrator, Jovita. Thank you, Jovita. Very good. Small business is no longer small business, it's big business. It's one of the biggest businesses. As a result of the virus, 22% of small businesses were forced to close earlier this year, including 41% of Black-owned businesses. But under my administration's strategy to vanquish the virus and restart our economy, small businesses across the nation are now safely reopening. All over the nation, they're reopening at levels like nobody's seen before. We're sheltering individuals at the highest risk. If you look at really high-risk individuals, we are really watching them and we're taking care of them. And we know what the high risk means, but largely it means older people, especially older people, senior citizens that have a tremendous, they have a problem. If they have a heart problem, if they have diabetes, if they have any kind of a problem, they're much more susceptible. So we're all watching that very closely. We've learned a lot over the last number of months. In the past 4 months, we've conducted over 25 million coronavirus tests and distributed over 1.5 billion pieces of personal protective equipment. America is better supplied and more prepared to re-enter than, I would say, just about any other place. You look at what we've done with ventilators. We're now making thousands a week of ventilators, very big, expensive, complex equipment, and we're sending them to other countries, and we're all stocked up. Our country is totally stocked up. Everybody has their ventilators that maximum they can use, but we are sending them to other countries. The nice part, and I say it a lot because I think it's pretty amazing, when we came here, you had very few ventilators in this country, and by the time we started, not one person that needed a ventilator didn't get it. So everybody that needed a ventilator got a ventilator. There wasn't one instance anywhere in our country, and we stocked up those shelves. The cupboard was empty, and we filled up the cupboards. In the past 4 months, tremendous things have happened, but I think probably the biggest thing of all is the knowledge that we've gained of this disease, of this plague, of this virus, call it what you want, to help small businesses survive the shutdown. I approved over $670 billion for the Paycheck Protection Program, and Steve, that's been a tremendous success. And we're talking with Democrats about doing something further now, but the numbers, the way they're coming in, it's been really incredible. So we're able to spot it, but we're here to help businesses and to help people. To date, we've processed over 4.6 million small business loans, saving and supporting an estimated 50 million American jobs, Jovita. That's incredible. The small business owners that we have with us this afternoon all received the PPP loans, and now their businesses are on the road to recovery, and they're doing really well. We have a lot of businesses that are doing really well. We're talking about a V-shape. We're almost like an I-shape. I is straight up and down, but I talked about V-shape, and a lot of people disagreed with me. Not everybody, but a lot of very smart Wall Streeters were disagreeing. Now they're pretty much coming on board, saying it looks like it could be a V. So a V is the thing we were shooting for, and it looks like that's what we've got. I want to thank our people and my representatives for their decisive actions. And last month, we added a record 2.5 million jobs. It's the highest in the history of our country in 1 month. That's the highest number of jobs, 2.5 million. The Dow rose above 26,000 points, and we saw the largest surge in retail sales ever recorded. Next year is shaping up to be one of the greatest years in the history of our country from an economic standpoint. I truly believe that. I think we're going to have a great third quarter. We're going to have a great fourth quarter, and next year is going to be a phenomenal year. I believe that NASDAQ actually set the record. During a pandemic, NASDAQ just they broke their record, Larry. Is that a correct statement? So it was higher than even before. It's an amazing achievement. After I was elected president, our country added more than 7 million jobs, 12,000 factories, and trillions of dollars of wealth. We created nearly 9,000 opportunity zones, and African American, Asian American, and Hispanic American unemployment and poverty reached all-time lows. We had the greatest employment numbers we've ever had, and then we had to turn it off. We saved millions of people by doing it. We did the right thing, and now we're turning it back on, and the numbers are going up much, much faster than anybody would have thought. And it's a great honor to see it. And these two governors, by the way, have done a fantastic job. Two very extraordinary men, Nebraska and Oklahoma. We built the strongest economy the world has ever seen before the virus, and together we're doing it again. So we did it before the virus, we had to turn it off, and now we're doing it again, and that's what's happening. So now I'd like to, maybe we'll start off with Governor Ricketts, and then we'll get to my friend over here. I'll be seeing so much of you in the next couple of days. I'll take you second. Okay, thank you very much. Please.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. President, and to all of your team here. We really appreciate your effort, your leadership, and that of your teams to be able to help us through this pandemic and really give us the tools to be able to manage it. The PPP program you mentioned has been tremendously successful in Nebraska because of the great relationships our community bankers have with our small businesses. We were able to take advantage of that and really cover over 80% of our payroll. So it really was a fantastic way to be able to keep people working. We had the third lowest unemployment rate in April, and we want to keep people in their jobs. We really appreciate all the work you're doing. And we've, you may recall we were one of the few states that didn't issue a stay-at-home order or a shelter-in-place order. What we did is try to take common steps and ask people to take responsibility, to be able to follow the directives that you all were putting out with regard to avoiding large groups, washing their hands, that sort of thing, and making sure they keep 6 feet in distance in public, that sort of thing. And by doing that and targeting specific higher risk businesses that we asked to shut down for a shorter period of time, we were able to stem the tide of the virus. We've actually got the lowest hospitalizations in our state right now we had since the end of April. So it's got a nice bell-shaped curve where it went up and now it's come back down. Our cases are steady and flat, and now we're just really in the mode of managing this. You put the 10-person rule in place in mid-March, and that bought us the time to be able to strengthen our contact tracing, our testing, our PPE, our quarantine space, put plans in place to help at-risk populations, and put our rules in place. And that's what gave us the opportunity to be able to manage it. So we really appreciate all that you've done, Mr. President. Thank you.
Well, you've done great, and thank you very much. And how did you do with your floods? Because you had tremendous floods.
We're still actually recovering from the floods from last year. So we got kind of the double whammy. Agriculture in particular has really taken a heavy hit between what happened then, last year with the flooding, and then the pandemic this year. But again, your administration has been helpful. The Phase 1 China deal, for example, gives it a great mark to be able to sell things. So we really appreciate all that you're doing to help us recover through these terrible tragedies.
And they are buying a lot, aren't they?
They are, and that helps. That makes such a difference, Mr. President. I can't tell you. When people aren't driving, they're not using ethanol, right? Because that gets blended into our fuel supply. When our food processing facilities are impacted by coronavirus and they're slowing down, our ranchers don't have a place to take their animals. So there's a lot of impact to agriculture, and your administration has been great in working with us to be able to help them through it.
That's great. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Appreciate it. Governor?
Well, thank you so much for having us, Mr. President. And on behalf of Oklahoma, we're so excited to have you. And like you said, I don't know if people caught that, but over 1 million people have requested tickets to come to come to this event. So it's just going to be an amazing. Oklahoma's ready for your visit. It's going to be safe, and we're really, really excited. But, you know, during this whole COVID crisis, as we've been fighting it, your administration has been having calls twice a week. The vice president have been so helpful to myself and all the other governors, listening to what our needs were and providing everything we need. So it's just been going great. And so we're one of the first states that has safely and measurably reopened. We went to phase 3 on June 1st. So we're 56 days into our reopening plan. And currently we have under 200 people in the hospital across the state of Oklahoma. And we had an uptick in the number of cases, and so the media tries to talk about that. But we knew we were going to have an increase a little bit because we're 56 days into reopening. But what's interesting, it's the 18 to 35 group that we've seen a slight increase, but they're the asymptomatic, and we're testing so many more people right now than we were initially, and the positive cases are still 3.8%. So we've seen a steady decline in the hospitalizations, and we have to learn. I tell Oklahomans that COVID is in the U.S., it's in Oklahoma. We have to learn how to be safe and how to have to move on. And so we were able to build capacity, because the whole reason I issued 25 executive orders in Oklahoma was to build capacity in our hospitals and also the PPE, and we were able to do that and really flatten that curve, and that was our objective. And I told Oklahomans the better they do in that period of time, the quicker we can start reopening. Right. And that's exactly what we've done, and Oklahomans are being safe, and we can see it in our numbers, but we're ready to get things back to normal and get life back to normal. So again, we can't wait to have you in Oklahoma on Saturday.
Great job, Kevin. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, thank you. As your domestic policy chief, what an honor it is to have all of these small business owners here at the White House. I'm reminded that just yesterday, Mr. President, we had veterans in. The day before, we were doing policing reform in the Rose Garden. The day before that, we were talking about seniors and taking care of our elderly and fraud. Everything you do, every day, every minute, is how to do the most for all Americans. And the small business, this is the backbone of our country. I'm from a town of 1,200 people, Glen Rose, Texas, an hour south of Dallas, raised by a single mom who had a flower shop on the main street of Glen Rose. Small business truly is the American dream at its very, very best. And the work that Secretary Mnuchin, that Administrator Carranza are doing for this country is extraordinary, but it's executing your vision. And so bringing today these small business owners to the White House, talking about how we're going to not just get this country back where we were just a couple months ago before the pandemic from China hit, but to even greater heights than ever before. It's just an honor to be here, and I want to welcome and thank everyone for coming to the White House, and thank you, Mr. President, for your leadership.
Thank you for doing a great job.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, thank you all very much. Thank you. Thank you very much.